There is a great thread from Matt Smith that I retweeted last night, and it's about the dollar and our economy, and everyone needs to read this. What the average person is going to be talking about is my groceries are going up. And yes, they are. That's not anything from this administration. That is from all of the lies that the media was telling you that things were strong and it's getting better and yada, yada. No, it's not. Those numbers and all of that stuff were garbage. And it's not getting better yet. And Donald Trump is cutting. But we also need to cut regulations. We need to get business back on its feet. These two things have to happen in a coordinated fashion. Otherwise, you're gonna gut the spending. Because remember, most of our GDP, a lot of our GDP is coming from the government. They're spending all of this money. You're not spending money. They're spending money. That's keeping the government's GDP. So if you cut, our GDP goes down, which means all kinds of numbers start to fluctuate from interest rates and everything else. So we want a growing GDP, which means we have to grow real wealth. We have to grow real business, not NGOs. And the one guy that I think can do it is Donald Trump. But there's a tweet that caught my eye yesterday because it starts with gold, and I've been following the COMEX. There's something going on with gold, and nobody really knows what it is. Somebody here in the United States is buying a crap load of gold. We think, I hope, it's the Treasury or the central bank, the Fed. But somebody is taking huge physical deliveries, and it's causing shortages in London, where they buy and sell gold. There are shortages now of gold because somebody is buying it and shipping it here. Somebody with very deep pockets. Okay. So why? Now, this is all theory. That's fact. Here's the theory of what's going on. They're preparing for a full-on gold audit. We talked about this yesterday. The government right now claims on its balance sheet as an asset all of this gold, and it's valued at $45 an ounce. In case you haven't heard, it's $2,900 an ounce. So they're talking now about boosting the price of gold, at least market to market, but maybe even making it $5,000 an ounce. Okay. If that happens, the balance sheet starts to fall into line, and our debt to GDP is not as bad as it really is right now. Okay. Just start claiming the truth about gold, and our balance sheet starts to come into line. Start taking our minerals, start taking our oil, and claiming those as assets and putting those on the balance sheet, which we can do. And it's not a bad idea unless, we lose in the end, because then we lose all of our assets, our natural assets. You put those on the balance sheet. This helps strengthen the United States because we're coming to a place where we're not going to be able to finance the debt. Who wants to write the United States a new long-term loan at less than really market value? And market value, I mean, if you walked into a bank and you had the credit report that the United States of America has, what do you think the bank is going to charge you in interest? You're a risk. You just are addicted to spending. You're doing ridiculous things. I'm sorry. Now, they might write you a check if you have all of this stuff on your balance sheet, okay? And that's why they're doing it. They're trying to reshore up our balance sheet, make ourselves healthier than we are, because we're at the end of the dollar. We're at the end of this financial system. So this is an end game. It's why tariffs are being, brought in. It's to force others to start to see the sorry situation they're in. I mean, Europe, if this deal with Ukraine goes through, which, by the way, yesterday had a perfect phone call with Putin, and it did go really, really well. And Donald Trump is saying, yeah, we might have to have the resources from you. We want your rare earth minerals because of what we've already given you. We want that in exchange. He's doing that as a negotiating tactic with everybody. And he's putting on notice the European Union, we're not in this anymore. This is your problem. We leave, we're not rebuilding Ukraine. You have to do it. And you're going to have to protect it. And we're not going to guarantee its protection. So if you want it protected, you do it. They're talking $3 trillion to be able to rebuild and protect. Europe can't handle that. But you know what, Europe? Neither can we. So he's putting everybody in the same situation. And this is going to cause inflation to rise. It's going to. It will punish the average person because of tariffs and everything else. If they're not done exactly right, it'll punish with higher prices. However, he's betting that wages will also rise because he's forcing people to keep their profits here and make jobs here. If everything goes right, what the trade on gold is showing us is that we may be going towards a gold-backed financial system or a gold-backed currency of some sort. The Fed could even be shut down. There is something big in the wind, and nobody knows what it is for sure. So what do you do as a regular person? You need to understand that the dollar could be by design being collapsed. That's exactly what the Biden administration was doing, collapsing the dollar, but they didn't have a plan to replace it other than a digital dollar and, global slavery. I'm not sure what the plan is here, but it seems much more American-centric, good for America, and eventually good for the rest of the world. And it doesn't look like it is taking freedom away from people, but we have to watch it. The situation with the economy is really dire. That hasn't gone away. What we have is one of the best mechanics who have hired the rest of the best mechanics to come in, put up the hood, and say, we want to save this engine. How do we do it? And they're applying that. We don't know what direction, but a huge sign that something big is coming is the amount of gold that is being purchased. And the key here that you have to understand, shortages in London, gold flowing into the U.S. at record levels. Somebody with deep pockets, this is what Matt Smith is scooping up gold. They're reshoring gold that might have been leased out. What does that mean? That the United States is buying all this gold. Why? Because they're reshoring the gold that might have been leased out. That's rehypothecation. That's just the word away from the word that I said. If you see rehypothecation begin to be bantered around, look out. What rehypothecation is we've taken one asset and we've counted it on several different accounting books. So we counted it the United States, but also we've leased this gold out to Germany, so Germany could get more money based on their gold. But their gold is our gold, and our gold is England's gold. So that's how dire this is we're beginning to enter the world of rehypothecation, which means no one owns anything. Because your house, you say, well, I got my loan through Citibank. But Citibank has used rehypothecation to put that on their balance sheet as that's their house, but they sold it in a package to 8 different banks And they're all counting that house, yours, as an asset. So when they all start to go down, they all say, well, we've got all of these assets. Well, no, you don't. Which one of you has the 100%? You're all claiming 100% of, Bob Smith's house. Which one actually has it? Well, they all do. This is such a Ponzi scheme where, you know what this is? This is a story of the producers. Do you ever see the movie or the stage show Mel Brooks, The Producers? Why did they get into trouble? Because they were selling over 100% of the play. They kept selling the play. You get 100%, you get 100%, you get 100%, all thinking that it's not, that particular show wouldn't make any money. It won't be a success. It's the worst play ever. So it will close and nobody's going to audit and say, wait a minute, you sold 100%. Nobody's going to ask. They just want to get away from it. They lost their money. It closed. But if it's a success, they now have to pay 100% of the proceeds to 14 different people. It's a scam. That's what's happened here. They have sold 100% of your house, or in this case, the gold, to several different people. When everybody says, I'm in trouble, I want my money back, I need my gold. Trouble.
No, I mean, it just seems like the type of thing that it's almost impossible to unwind, right? If it's that deep, how do you unwind it? Or do you just protect yourself and your family? And
for you make sure that if your house is paid for, if you have anything paid for, you have the title. You know where the title is. You have the title. Okay, so you're not in as bad of shape if you own things. You own your car, good, have the title. You own your house, good, have the title. It's really good if you're buying a house to make sure that that loan is staying local, that they're not reselling that loan, that it's staying with one bank, and it's not being sold in, what were those called? Credit default swaps?
I remember those things.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That it's not being sold like that, because that's what causes the problem. And so you just need assets. You need real assets. If you can buy gold, you should buy gold, especially if they are going to start counting that on the balance sheet. If they change the price of gold from $45 to $4,500, that means they're going to have to do that worldwide. So gold all of a sudden becomes $4,500 an ounce. Okay. As your dollar goes down, your gold will go through the roof.
This is much better when Margot Robbie is telling me about it in a bathtub. That is the delivery system.
I could run the water. I don't into the bathtub.
No, please don't. Please don't. Oh my gosh, Sarah just threw up on the board. Stations, we may have some technical difficulties.